Could an ancient culture assemble 2.5 million giant stone blocks with such perfection, less than 1/10 of a degree off true north? Von Daniken believes these mysteries could support his theory that the Great Pyramid was built by Enoch following his warning from above, teachers who descended from the heavens. If so, where are the secret chambers filled with ancient text? Only recently has modern technology allowed investigators to attempt to unravel this great mystery, which has challenged scholars and archaeologists for thousands of years.
Some ancient text says that this pyramid was constructed before the Great Flood and many secret chambers should be in here. Could this shaft maybe lead to one of these chambers?
In 1993, German engineer Rudolf Gantenbrink designed and built a robot to explore this mysterious shaft. The tiny machine was equipped with a video camera and remote steering. Its mission? Follow the shaft into the darkness in hopes of discovering ancient secrets.
I had no clear idea what I should find at the end of the shaft. I expected anything, but not especially this.
The robot had climbed over 50 meters into what was thought to be merely a symbolic shaft. But when the journey ended at a stone door with 2 corroding copper fittings, Erich von Daniken believes the legend of Enoch may be one step closer to becoming fact.
What we see in the camera from the robot is just the backside of the stone.
Gantenbrink believes the stone might have been lowered into place by means of a rope. The copper fittings would have prevented its removal. Could this door lead to the secret chambers Enoch was told to build?
There are hundreds of references contained in the oldest Egyptian texts which tell us that the gods concealed a great secret at Giza, perhaps under the Great Sphinx, or perhaps within the Great Pyramid itself. We now know that there is a hidden chamber inside the Great Pyramid, and we now know from seismic work that there is a hidden chamber under the Great Sphinx. And astonishingly, legitimate scientific work to open these chambers has been delayed for years by a combination of forces bringing and resting on the worst aspects of human character. We need to know what lies in those chambers, because the ancient Egyptian texts tell us that it will be a matter of enormous importance that could contain a startling revelation about the origins of human civilization.
Erich von Daniken suggests that, as at Teotihuacan, this could be another tantalizing clue to support his idea that extraterrestrials may have visited Earth. The dream of flying has fueled our imagination for thousands of years. At the end of the 20th century, we're not only able to fly around the Earth, we're able to explore other planets and other solar systems. Is it possible that other intelligent beings share our dream of exploration and have visited the Earth? These illustrations were drawn from descriptions in a Hindu text of ancient India dated to the 4th century BC. They describe what some scholars believe are giant vimanas, or flying machines. In Yugoslavia, images like these were found on a medieval fresco dated to around the 15th century. Are these the products of an artist's imagination, or are these recordings of actual beings in flight?
The oldest scriptures of mankind, the ancient Egyptian pyramid texts, the Vedic texts of India, and many other ancient texts from all around the world make intriguing references to what sounds like flight, technological flight, not visionary, imaginary journeys in the sky, but journeys in machines. And I don't think it's wise of us to ignore this huge collection of references to flight coming down to us in the oldest texts of mankind. Is it possible that what we're looking at here is a memory of a forgotten episode in human history? Is it possible that ours is not the first civilization to make the slow climb to technological development and to the creation of flying machines? I believe there have been earlier civilizations, at least one great civilization that was destroyed in an enormous cataclysm, the cataclysm that brought the last ice age to an end. And it's highly possible that that civilization had reached a high level of technology. All these texts suggest that it had reached the technological ability to fly.
The search for clues about flying machines of the ancient world takes us to southern Mexico. The ancient city of Palenque is one of the most magnificent of the Mayan culture, which flourished all across Central America for almost 600 years. This is the burial pyramid of Pakal, ruler of the Mayan world around 600 AD. Here, Eric von Daniken has found what he believes are signs that the Mayans may also have encountered visitors from the sky. Pakal's ornate sarcophagus is rendered in exquisite detail. The lid is a beautifully carved image of the dead king. Eric von Daniken believes this relief might show Pakal in some kind of spaceship. He sees that Pakal is seated in the reclined position like an astronaut in a space capsule. His hands seem to be gripping the controls, almost like a pilot. His nose appears to be attached to a breathing apparatus. The design behind the seat could be a representation of flames, as if from some kind of rocket. In the jungles of Tabasco, von Daniken points to what he believes is a clue that ancient astronauts have indeed visited this culture.
During this journey, I showed clues for an extraterrestrial visit in the past. But I have more. 60 years ago, a gigantic engraved stone was found in the jungle of Tabasco in Mexico. Now you see yourself. There is a flying being, to my view, an extraterrestrial, floating down from the sky. His head has a helmet, and with a little imagination, one can even recognize a microphone on his lips. His two arms and hands are looking down, while on the contrary, his legs towards the sky. In this case, I definitely see an astronaut coming down from heaven to teach humanity.
Nazca, Peru. Another great mystery of the ancient world. From the ground, Nazca is an empty, endless desert. But from the air, the secret of Nazca is revealed. The desert is in fact a tapestry of elaborately carved lines and figures stretching for more than 150 kilometers. From the air you can see the famous figures of the spider, the hummingbird, and the monkey. Without the ability to fly, experts don't know how the Nazcans gained the perspective needed to create such elaborate figures on such a huge scale. There's even disagreement about the purpose of these markings. Originally, they were thought to be calendar-related or astronomical guides. No one really knows. But there is more to Nazca than this ancient menagerie.
The real mystery in Nazca are lines, gigantic lines looking like airstrips, and small lines, long, kilometers long.
One of these lines extends 30 kilometers to the horizon. A giant mountaintop has been sheared off, leveled, and then scraped clean to create an impressive avenue. Von Daniken's question is, why? Did the ancient Nazcans need runways for some kind of flying machine?
This is an amazing mystery. Orthodox history has it that the ancients could not fly, that they did not have the technology to fly. And indeed, if the ancients did have the technology to fly, then the whole basis of our history is completely up the creek. And yet the mystery of Nazca is I can see no way that these figures could have been prepared by a people who did not have the ability to get above them and check the perspective. You try and draw a spider in one continuous, unbroken line on an ordinary sheet of paper with a pencil. You'll find you can't do it unless you're an accomplished draftsman. These figures are drawn in unbroken lines on a scale of hundreds of feet by a people who supposedly did not have the ability to get perspective on what they were doing. In my view, the Nazca figures have never been properly explained by scholarship, and it's not good enough just because they can't be explained to ignore the mystery. We need to get to grips with this, to get to grips with two things. First of all, what are they? What are they for? And secondly, how were they done? In Nazca, I detect the fingerprints of the same ancient system of knowledge that we find in other parts of the world, where an endeavor was made to bring the heavens down to earth. I think that the Nazca figures are constellation diagrams. There's a great deal of good evidence which suggests that the Nazca spider is a representation of the constellation of Orion. And this is very intriguing because the three great pyramids of Egypt we now know are a representation of the three stars of Orion's belt. And we also know that in Egypt, this system of ideas was connected to the quest for the immortality of the soul and traced back to the time of the gods and to the knowledge and the wisdom of the gods. I suspect that that's what we're looking at Nazca as well, the